Report to the cloud. Okay, so I am recording now, everybody, just a FYI. I'm going to turn on my perspective grid. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm actually going to move my grid over there. And let's actually move it up a bit higher, something like that. And then lock that. Okay. So we're going to make lots of layers. We're going to start off with light colors. Okay, so first of all, let's begin with just analyzing the distance within which we want the bottle to fall. So we know that the horizon line is at our eye level. So that's the horizon line. So basically, y'all, when we create a perspective, we want to kind of think about the way that the perspective is going to function. Okay, the further to the left or the right away from the vanishing point, the more distortion you're going to get. The higher from the horizon line or the lower from the horizon line you go, the more distortion you're going to get. So generally, we speak about trying to keep things within about 60% of the space. So that kind of gives you an idea that we probably want to create our bottle within maybe like a distance of like this, okay? So I'm just going to turn that off, okay? And I'm going to say, let's make the front of our bottle about here. Sorry, pardon me. I'm going to turn my magnet tool on. So make the front of our bottle about here. And let's make the back of our bottle about here. Maybe it should be just a hair wider to the left. Okay, so I've already made a boo-boo, so let me just retrace a nice line. There we go. Good job, Fawn. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about the height. And this is going to be the height of the largest part of the bottle. So I think about there would be nice. How am I determining this? I'm just looking and thinking. So then orthogonal, 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 orthogonal. And then we said the back of the bottle should be about here. Like so. So let's make a new layer. Let's change our color a little bit. I'm actually going to go brighter. Going to turn on my straight line tool. Pardon me, straight line tool. And I'm going to go corner to corner here and corner to corner there. That's going to give me the center of that space there. And then I'm going to go back to my first layer and I'm going to turn on this tool and I'm going to find the center of that space using the perspective tool. And then I'm just going to turn that off. Now remember that we're dealing with perspective, so the boop. I can do it here. The front part of the bottle here is longer than the back part of the bottle there, because the back part of the bottle here is closer to the vanishing point there. VP, horizon line, okay, standing point. So that means that this bottle is going to be to the left of our standing point, but also below the horizon line, which is our eye level. So we're going to see the top of the bottle here, and we're going to see this visible plane here, and we're going to see this visible plane there. Because we know where we are in relationship to the vanishing point in relationship to the horizon line. Okay, so I have this. Now let's talk about where we might want the neck of the bottle to be. So let's do our good old-fashioned new layer. And then let's go to our straight line tool and let's divide the space here and here. And then that gives us a vertical line here, a horizontal line there. Pardon me, I'm not on the magnetic tool. Vertical line here, horizontal line there, vertical line here, horizontal line there. So I can make a new layer, I can change my colors. Okay, and then I can do something like this is now connected to this, is now connected to that, is now connected to that, is now connected to this, and this, and this, and this, and this. That kind of helps me to keep sort of like a little bit of awareness of, you know, what I've been building. Now, I'm going to use this layer there. I'm going to keep that layer there, but I'm going to put a new layer down. I'm going to change my colors so I can keep track of things. And I'm going to go corner to corner here. Interestingly enough, and this just sometimes happens. Oh, no, it doesn't happen. The center is not on that orthogonal. Sometimes you might get centers and things that line up on your orthogonals. I thought it was going to happen, but it didn't. And then corner to corner here. And if I turn on my perspective grid, I'm going to change my color so you can see it. I can establish now the line that will go through the entire bottle. And so if we've done that line correctly, then every time that we do center to center, it should run through the center of each one of these rectangles. Easy peasy. We've done that lots of times now. Should be like second nature. I'm going to pull the opacity down because I find it confusing, and I'm sure you do too. So now we know where I'm going to make a new layer because they're free. So now we know where the center of the bottle is going to be. Okay. So now let's find the front plane of the neck. I'm going to sort of make my decisions based on some different ideas. Maybe what I'll do is go back to this layer with these lines on it. And so then if I draw a vertical line there, like that, and my horizontal line there and there like that, that kind of gives me an idea of what the space will look like. Now, I remember from our discussion earlier that because our standing point is over here, that, you know, we're going to see this as being a little bit bigger than this. Also because it's in the proximity to the vanishing point there. So to establish the thickness of the front plane of the neck of the bottle, I'm going to figure out where I think that should be. And let's just use a measurement so that it's easy for all of us to keep track of. Let's go corner to corner here. Oh, pardon me, that's not correct. That's not the right line. Pardon me. Corner to corner there, 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 corner to corner there. Then you can just make a new layer. And let's just use that to our advantage, okay? So this can be the height and the width. Like so. Boop. Okay, so let's be sassy and do the next part of that without the perspective grid. So we're going to go back in here, corner to corner. So that tells us what our corner to corner is going to be. And then we're going to do our horizon line, sorry, horizontal line there and there. Through there. Change colors so you can keep track of things much easier. Corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner. Now we don't need the perspective grid because we're smart. We've already figured out where this is going to go. Here, 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 and here. So I'm actually now going to go back to this layer with my exterior on it. I'm going to pick up the color. Okay. And then on that layer, now I can turn on the grid to double check all my work. Make sure your magnetic tool is on. Going to draw that line. Actually, I'm going to boop, 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 put that there, maybe. Boop, boop. Maybe what I should do is make that so you can all see. There you go. Change the opacity so you can see a bit better. Horizontal, horizontal, vertical, horizontal, sorry, yeah, vertical, horizontal, vertical, and then our orthogonal should now meet, boop, 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 boop. Look at that, beautiful. Bob's your uncle. Okay. So this is basically where we're at right now. Just going to clean up my lines. Any questions so far? Okay. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm a little sort of interested in that line there. No, it's definitely the right line. Okay. So we're here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create a new layer. Okay, change colors, something bright. Find the center of this space. Find the center of this space. Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. So that can help you to track that and track this, and this. So then if you change colors, new layer, turn that off, you can use that to help you put in your oval. I think this angle here looks wrong. That little curve looks wrong. There you go. You got your flat parts like here, and here, and here. And then this flat part interacts there, so we're going to have a line back there. Interacts there, so we have a line there. Interacts there, so we have a line there. Interacts there, so we have a line there. And then down here, we don't really see much more underneath. But that does help you to establish where this curve would be back there. And then let's just trace over that with one of our darker colors. Don't forget, it's going to come to a flat point there. Flat point. Well, sorry, flat edge, not a flat point. Those two things don't make sense. We have something that looks like that. Now you can add where things are curving and you can see that they line up. You can actually add planes to help you to see that curve. Now I'm also just like I'm looking in here. I think that curve, as long as I don't lose my two flat places, I can kind of work to get my curves to look more even. Just don't forget that they exist within this division. If you're having a hard time finding a curve, you can just divide this space up multiple times. And use each one of these indications of space, like here, these locations, to create a curve that you could then mimic down here. So you could also remove those if you like, but I find with like perspective drawings that it looks really distorted if we don't have some of those planes, so I kind of like them. Again, your idea there is that anywhere on the curve that you have like you would start with like your straight edges, like over here. You could put a plane there. But then also remember the idea that in perspective, like this curve here matches that curve there. So if we were to redraw that, we now have like this, like a perfume bottle or eau de toilette. Or nail polish, or a mini bar bottle, which is perhaps what you all need right now after my teaching. Okay, so I'm recording again. So let's just look at that thing that I just showed Brandon. You know, if I have, let's go back to this layer. If I was to build my rectangle around this real quick, and I would do that based on the outside, larger outside dimensions, I can find corner to corner here and here. There is the center. And then I could say, okay, so like here and here, that's the place where my oval will come to a flat. And so then I can actually pull that straight down there and straight down there. And I can do the same thing here, remembering that where this is in relationship to the horizon line. And so then I create these points here, 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 and here. Now I can pull those points back through here. I don't need to pull those all the way back, but I'm just doing it so you can see. And so now I know that when they interact with that back rectangle, I now know in which place that curve should exist. And I can actually match it to the front curve by finding the places on the curve where I can measure the sort of trajectory of the curve, and I can match it back here to check it. So that could be helpful. Okay, so this is where we are. Okay, I'm going to turn on my perspective grid. Let's go ahead and let's just take a moment here. I'm going to make a new layer. It's now I'm going to keep this as my final layer for now. So I'm not going to draw on that layer until I have something finalized I want to put onto the layer. So I'm on a new layer here. Okay. So let's just like carefully kind of like follow. You need to turn off the magnetic tool. Go ahead and follow your oval that you made in there. Now let's go ahead and take that and like let's just dump it on that layer as a final shape. And we want it to be, you know, we want to think about the distance and the thickness this part here should be thicker than this part here. Because this part here is to the left, further left of the vanishing point. Okay, so then we can turn that back on. We can lower this opacity. Let's go back to this layer where we did that. All right, and then let's just Or we could just make a new layer even, keep things simple. Okay, so then let's just take our straight line tool, pick a different color, corner to corner. Okay, corner to corner. Now we can go back and turn on the there so we can see the location of the corner we need to. Okay, vertical line. Boop, not very good vertical line, Vaughn. Vertical line. For this, you can turn on the straight line tool if it helps you. Horizontal line. That didn't help because I didn't have the magnetic tool on. There we go. Horizontal line. Okay, then we can trace that back there too. That will help back there. We can trace that back there. We can then, if we need to, recreate our back rectangle. And so if I trace all those lines back, then just like with everything else, it automatically tells me where that is and where that is. Okay, so then let's follow the kind of the gist of what we were doing earlier. Same thing, let's put a vertical line here. Oops, wrong layer. Here. Over here, it should be a bit wider. And pull that back there and pull that back there. Now we know here and here we have these points. That's going to be the top flat part of the oval. So then same thing here. So here, sort of here. Again, thinking about my perspective, that's going to pull me back here and pull me back there. So then I can make a new layer. I can turn off my perspective tool. And I can create this curve quite easily now. Now I don't have to guess for the other part because it's very well established for us with this. I'll change that layer down for you in terms of its opacity so it's not so busy. So then if I keep on that layer and I turn my perspective grid back on, I can pull a line through back here. And so this back curve back here is going to curve down into the space back there. Now it's going to disappear visually because when we mimic that same curve here, oops, sorry, pardon me. I didn't know you could do that. When I mimic that curve here, and I mimic this curve here, we're then just going to pick up this line here. And that's going to probably cover a lot of the stuff back there. And actually, I think that line needs to go more down in here. Let me just erase all of that because it's too thick for you to see. want to make sure you can see stuff that's happening, of course. So we had that. I don't think we're going to see any of that. I think that's going to disappear. We know that this part here is more flat than curved. But I'm thinking about this point here. And I'm going to pull that back. And I can see, I think we're going to see part of that curve back there. So let's turn on the perspective tool. And let's pull a line from here back to see, no, it's going to go on the inside. We're not going to see much at all. But let's see here. There we see a little bit more. And so what gets confusing here, I'm sure, is like, thinking about where the outside edge of the bottle is going to disappear. This is actually easier when you're looking at a real form, but we're making this up. And so as we're making it up, that means like we might find ourselves making something that's a bit awkward. But we can always tell by doing something like this, turning on our layers and seeing like, is it going to work? I think it's going to work because when I look at this line here, pardon me, when I look at this line here and I look at this line here, I see a similarity in the trajectory of the oval that I think is mimicked in the smaller oval and the larger oval. Now the other side, if we turn back on all of our mess here, same thing, but it's going to be somewhat hidden. And it's hidden by the neck. And the neck of the bottle is kind of like hiding a big part of the second oval. Let's have a look to see what that looks like. We could say that maybe that curve back there should be more rounded. Like that. And then this is going to, if we turn on our perspective grid, this line here will mimic that edge like that. And look, it connects back there pretty well. So we'd have something that looks like this. So then if we turn on all of our, if we just trace over all of our final lines, then we can get something that looks like this. And this is where we can start to sort of smooth things out where we think that we need to smooth them out. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. Okay, who has a question or need help? I guess we won't get this 2-point perspective today. Okay. Okay, so there's a discussion board posted for you to upload your work from class today for your points, please. Okay. And then we are going to, let's just take the last little bit of class. We have any other, any questions? Okay. I do find it
Wait,
slightly,
actually, yeah,
yeah,
one
thank you.
question.
I find it really hard to think that there might not be any questions after that difficult drawing.
Yeah,
So
I don't know if I went wrong somewhere when I was just drawing the orthogonals, but my bottle ended up looking really flat.
okay, let me see.
Oh, here. Yeah.
Okay, the reason it looks flat, I don't think that I actually don't think that this is wrong. I feel like you actually probably did um, pretty well. The reason it looks kind of flat is because the length of the neck to the length of the body.
Mm.
So it looks a
I
bit
just,
more like a
mm,
muffler. Now, if you think, I don't know, I mean, I'm not really versatile in like the language of the shape of a muffler. Like I know that there are lots of types of mufflers, okay? But like, oh, I have a better idea. Something I'm more familiar with would be like a rolling pin, okay?
yeah.
This is more like shaped like a rolling pin where the handle needs to be about half of the size, say, of the pin,
Mm.
okay, or a little bit less. A
Yeah, the neck of the
bottle,
bottle's a little bit big.
exactly. So if you half that, if you cut that in half, like,
Mm.
then, you know, like I think it would look accurate.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the distortion that perspective creates. Okay. If you build things in certain places, they get really distorted because of their proximity to the vanishing point, the horizon line, and the standing point.
I think I had the same
Thank
problem with
you.
that. I think I made my neck really, really long in comparison to the bottle, so mine looks pretty weird too.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Yes. Yours is, it looks very much like a mallet.
Mhm.
Okay, so what's happened there is exactly what you said. The proximity of the neck to the body is just too great, and as a result, you've got this would be a great beginning of an illustration of a marshmallow on a stick. Okay, And it's just, instead of looking at it like don't look at it like this is what I've done wrong. Instead, look at it and remember this and be like, in the future, if I want to draw something that looks like this is how I would do it. Okay? Because that's what you're doing in terms of learning to draw, right? Like it's like you're having experiences and you're making notations in your memory of that experience. So like if I look at that, if you keep it up for a sec, let me take a screenshot of that. It's a little out of focus, but it'll be fine. Okay, so what we have looks like this. I would say that like this seems pretty good back there. I just think that the neck would be like here.
Okay. That looks a lot better.
Yep. So when you did this, if you drew this first, which I don't remember, but I think we kind of did, then here I would say, okay, well, let's stop the neck there. And then this would be more like the size of what might be there. Cool.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Hey.
yeah, the person can go first.
Okay. I think I made my cap too thick compared to the bottle of it.
Okay.
Of it. Here I can. It's on a different screen, but.
No, you're pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I just had another issue with like, you see how they like almost look like curved diamonds instead of like rounded out. How would I round it out better?
So what you want to do, right, like is like when you look at the shape of the square, say that you're working from, usually we use squares. Let me make a new layer, turn this off, turn that off, turn that off, turn that off, make a new layer. Okay, so I'm going to record this, y'all, because it's probably going to be helpful. Oh, I've been recording this whole time. Oh, great. It's a lot of editing for me to do. Okay. So if I have a square, I don't know why I didn't make a square. Why didn't you make a square? Honestly, what did you just do? Why? Oh, it's locked. So if I make a square, okay, and then this is what I'm just dreadful at putting the oval this way with the tool. But you see, when I pull the oval in here, okay, it's going to create, there are those flat points you see, which you've got. Okay. And so then we can look at those flat points and we can do a line, a line, a line, and a line. Now we've also been doing like this, where we've been doing corner to corner. Okay. So we can also do the same type of thing. We can divide this section again. We could go, okay, let's find the center of this space here. Okay, so it's pretty much there. So I could go like through here. Okay, and that creates a moment here. And I can actually pull down through here to create that. Okay, and it creates a moment here, say. Pull here. Do you see? And then I can say, well, if I do this corner to corner, then I can then say, like that pulls down through here and pulls down through here. And so that lines up here and here, here and here. Do you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And so one thing that you can do is use, it's harder to draw a oval when you only have like 2 points, but pardon me, if you are drawing if you think about where else you can create points on that curve, that's easier to connect them. And so further dividing the space is one of the ways that you can create points that line up. Because it's fully symmetrical, right? Because it's fully symmetrical, you can find over here, and you can find over here, as well as here and here. So then you would think about it this way, like, okay, so now I've got this, and 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 this, and this, and this. And I mean, in design, we would talk about closure. You've already got a circle based on closure where the brain closes off missing information. But now that is easier to connect in the trajectory of the curve. Because you have more points. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I might actually just put it up with all the questions because I think the people who are absent today, or you might benefit from that. You can skip through the questions when it's on YouTube. And there was another question. What was it?
I was just going to ask about the inner circle. So we did the like circle within the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying it was offset a bit, or you were saying something about how it should be more to one side. Was that just like it's offset, or was that like a varying in like the shape?
No, that was the offset because of the perspective.
Okay, I was just checking. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely because, like, if we were to take this, if we were to take this, right? We could easily sort of find the center of that. And so then if the perspective is telling us because of the vanishing point that the vanishing point is to the right, then when we drew this in here, this would be perhaps slightly smaller than this side because this side here is closer to there.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. Other questions? Okay, so we'll have to do 2-point perspective next class. I'm actually going to give you a homework assignment because I want you to practice this. And in my brain, most of you should have already finished your perspective already. Do. Let me just make sure it's going to work. I don't want to do that. It's too complicated. Okay. So your homework is, I want you to, in addition to your digital 1-point perspective, you need to submit by tomorrow. That was my mistake for giving you the wrong date. But I apologize. So in terms of like your homework that will be due on Wednesday, then you're going to go ahead and I just want you to practice. I want you to fill a page front and back of mixed media paper using pencil and pen of cylinders and oval objects. Okay, so you're going to fill the front and back of a mixed media page, pencil and pen with oval and cylinder objects. And I want you to show me, okay, using your ruler, I want you to construct them the way that we've been constructing them, okay? And so I would just do varied sizes. They don't all have to be completely pulled to a finish. Maybe this is too open. I think maybe it's too open. Okay, strike that. We're gonna fill a page. Let's fill, and I'll put an assignment up, y'all. We're gonna fill the front. Let me make sure I stopped recording here.